Showtime. It's been a little bit. Last week feels like a long ways away. Hey. Hopefully we get our normal crew in here. How are you guys? Oh, I got my computer turned on. Let's see if it makes weird beeps. Hi, how are you? Hi, Jody. How are you this morning? It's Writer's Encouragement Showtime or Creative Encouragement Showtime. Hi, Stephanie and Kaiser, whatever. I think I've met you before. It's Writer's Encouragement Showtime. I am very good. I've kind of missed you guys. Isn't that weird how you can do that? Miss them. Virtual friends. I miss you. So it feels like, I don't know about you guys, but it feels like it's only been a week ago, but it feels like a long time. It feels like a lot of life has happened in the last week. A lot of good life, but it feels like and Savannah, yay. Everybody give hearts to Savannah. She has a newborn who's only a couple weeks old, 2 weeks yesterday or Sunday, right? So anybody who is a newborn who gets on Periscope to hang out with Writer's Encouragement Show is excited. Yay, it makes me happy. I'm missing everybody. So, Writer's Encouragement Show today. I have a lot of little things to say and to get everybody caught up. And then, of course, we're going to do the next right thing. Ignite and thrive. Okay, I need a first name on you. I want to say Doug, but I don't think that's right. I got to write it down. I haven't written it down. No. Kristen, there you go. Kristen, you came in at the same time this other guy came in. Oh, yes. Why does it take the first time you come up? I don't see your picture, but I know who you are. Kristen. I did that to you last time. Okay. Forgive me. Writer's Encouragement Show, you guys are my people, and I'm just super glad that you're all coming in this morning because how do you guys doing? Do you need a little shot in the arm with your projects, with the things that you're aiming at, on top of balancing a real life and real families and real commitments that have a long-term, even moral value? Is it tricky to keep it all going at the same time? It is over here. So I wanted to just encourage you guys. I just wanted to see where we're at and let you know where I'm at and let you know what I've been processing. Many of you guys realize that I just got back from the American Christian Fiction Writers Retreat. Oh, yes, busy. Yes, see, all kinds of beginnings. This is a pretty organized time of year for people because the school routine, my kids went back to school this morning. And I have to say, I savored the morning, getting up and being a part of their morning, getting those first day of school pictures because those days are numbered for me. But I also enjoyed the quiet house. Even my college age kid took off all at the same time. So I went from 5 kids and crazy to empty house with quiet. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Can I get a little heart for that? I know it makes me sound like a terrible mom, but hey, every now and then it's nice to catch your breath, right? With a little solitude. And it makes me, sometimes it makes me have to live on purpose. I can't take the silence for granted. I have to do the best I can with a pocket of quiet before the Lord, before myself, balancing and making sure that I'm not being busy for the sake of being busy. That's one of my topics for this morning. But the ACFW for us is a really big shot in the arm. I have editors and agents and business, publishing house business owners and writers all willing to come on our show and be a part of it. I've been invited to do podcasts and be on other things. Oh yeah, that would change it, wouldn't it? Oh, I love that you're watching your niece and nephew, Jody. That's sweet. What a big heart you have. So we have all kinds of opportunities to encourage you guys to find your niche and to chase your dream, even if you're not a writer, because I know I have a lot of creatives on many levels in here. But with all of that opportunity, for me comes the deciding thing, like, how do we want to move forward? I don't want to just be busy in the name of being busy. I want to do the next right thing. I want to balance out my path before the Lord and make sure that I'm not running around chasing my tail just to be busy. I want to make sure that we follow a path that the Lord has built for us, for the author, for writer's encouragement. And I think that's important. So I've got my list of all the opportunities out, and I've just been praying over it because I think his timing is important. Like Deborah Hiller, she made a comment in there this last week or a couple weeks ago now about how she was on one of the scopes. Hi, Guy. How are you? She was on one of the scopes where where I actually cried. And I know which scope it was because I've only done that one time. But she wrote this whole thing, this whole momentum building thing. And it's really stuck with me because it makes me feel like I want to have stewardship of the timing of how things come along. Like, okay, let's say if I get a guy who's really successful on self-publishing and he's broken through the ceiling of selling to his friends and family and he's marketing really well. If I have him come on, I don't just want him to come on when it's convenient for me and when I can fit him in the schedule. I want the timing of the Lord so that when he comes on, the people that are supposed to be able to be on Periscope, the ones that are supposed to hear his message, it'll be a divine appointment, almost like a God moment where they can come in and they can hear the encouragement they need, a specific tool they need that will spark their fire, just like it did with Deborah Hiller, and create this positive momentum where the momentum can fire off a dream and get the self-discipline or the sometimes it's belief in yourself that happens when you get some momentum. It's tricky to believe in yourself sometimes. And so I really want to be a good steward of the opportunities coming and catch the timing right. And then also not choke out my own writing time. So that'll be a trick. But so we have agents, editors, self-published, fantasy, sci-fi people. I got a very established published author for you. I'm excited. A couple of them actually. And I'm excited to bring those people on and do interviews with them and be able to pick their brains on questions that you guys would have that wouldn't really even touch my arena. Business owners, like publishing house owners and stuff like that. So you could just really understand the industry. When Karen Ball, my agent, signed me, the first day that she signed me, she said something to me, and I'm not sure that I fully grasped at the time what she said, what she meant. But she said, when you sign with an agent, you're expecting the agent to open up all of these doors of opportunity for you, which they do. But what you don't realize, I'm going to sneeze in just a second. I know I am. Excuse me. Woo! So if you want to bless me, you can just do little hearts. Did you want to say bless you to me? Because how do you not stop and sneeze? Thank you. There we go. Okay, so the best way to, she said, so I'm back to my story. Karen Ball said that when you begin this journey, you expect the agent to have all these opportunities and open up favor for you, kind of like through their reputation, through their name. She goes, but what you don't realize is that there's this unwritten rule. Underneath it all, there's this expectation that you, meaning me, or meaning you guys, will learn not only how to craft and write a book well, but also have to learn the industry and all the ins and outs of the marketing, which is totally intimidating when you're just at the beginning. But I will say this, it can be done. It can be done. It can be done. There's room for us at the table. One of my biggest encouragements from the conference was actually taking this giant 5.5-hour editing class, because I'm in the editing window and it's been very challenging and very overwhelming and very hard. But when I sat in that class and I realized that this lady was teaching from a point of excellence and I could totally receive from her, and she added some new highlights, but overall, there was no surprises. I knew exactly what she was doing. And I was like, I can take a deep breath. We're going to be fine. We're going to figure it out. So you guys, we're going to be fine. We're going to figure it out. And I know it's some of, like, Stephanie, you're doing your homeschool thing. Where's the rest of you guys at? Are you in the burnout window? Or are you doing fine? Is your projects hopping along or what? And remember, next right thing, that's coming at the end of the show here. I'm going to ask you for your next right thing. So you're going to measure. And I want to talk about that for a little bit too. So my goal, stalled for health. Oh, that's a big deal. And you know, health is important, and health is, you know what, Kristen? It actually seems to me like one of the primary areas of burnout for writers is health. A lot of the people in the room, when you go to Writer's Encouragement, deal with some sort of chronic pain or chronic illness. Limited writing. Oh yeah, your hand is still healing. Whatever happened with that? Hi, Vonnie from Alaska. What, was it broken? I don't think I heard the follow-up. I think the last time I talked with you, you were going to the doctor. You did break it. Ah! Yes, well, we can definitely be praying for you. Hi, Julie. All kinds of fun. You guys are awesome. Okay, so for me, you couldn't sit up. No thanks. You need to be healed. Okay, so by the end of the scope, I will definitely be praying for healing. And I just want you to know that I've actually seen some healing some of my friends the last couple of weeks. My daughter, she broke her foot, but they were expecting it to be a 6 or 8 week recovery. And she's going to cast for 3 weeks and then have 1 week in a in-between thing, which was cool. But then actually, I had a girlfriend who broke her hand right here, had it on the x-rays, broken, 2 little bones were broken on the x-rays. We prayed over her and she had a big trip she was excited about. A whole bunch of us prayed over her. And then she went back in and it wasn't broken. Now she's still sore and so has some healing up, but the x-ray the second time around that before they casted it had no broken bones, which is pretty cool. And then another one who rolled his ankle while playing volleyball at our camping weekend this weekend, and it swelled up. I mean, we knew something was the matter, but we prayed over him, and it visibly went down, and then the next day he was up and walking on it. He's still a little bit limpy, but he also had a big trip coming, a big fun. He was going to go hunting, so he was a hunter guy. So, of course, he's going to hike all those hills and terrain, and it was totally not what he expected because he'd rolled his ankle before and it was this big 4-month heal up, and so he was expecting that. So to have it be up and at him the next day, so he has a choice to make. You know, did he just not roll it that bad or did he get some healing? Well, that's everybody's decision. They have to make that in their heart. But we will definitely be praying for you guys for some healing because it sounds like we could use a round of physical touch. If you need a physical touch, you can just give some hearts out because we're going to do that. We are so going to do that. So I see a lot of other familiar faces slipping in the room, but this is it, guys. Writer's encouragement. This is the show for us to take a second, gather our minds, gather our hearts, and make sure we're on the same page. Okay, so that's what I've been doing. Do I want to be busy just to be busy? No, I don't. I'm aiming at something. Are you guys aiming at something? Do you need to be reminded about what it is that you're aiming about? And like Kristen and Stephanie, even brainstorming counts. Do you realize that? The brainstorming counts, and it's work that you're saving yourself later. And, you know, it doesn't count. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it counts because you're not doing what you would choose to do if you were completely whole and healthy, right? But it counts. It totally counts. And so I wanted to tell you guys this story. Many of you know that I'm a volleyball coach, right? So we're in full swing. Volleyball season is up and running. And one of the things that we did this year is we did what we're calling power books, which is basically a planner. And inside the planner, there's these worksheets that are designed just for volleyball that you guys wouldn't see in any normal planner. And it has chances for people to the players to actually make a goal for the day. The principle being you can't mark your progress if you're not measuring a goal. You can't see your own improvement. And the concept is instead of aiming at team growth and team encouragement, let's say a new little player gets amongst the varsity player and they play their heart out and they play really good, but they still look kind of crappy next to the varsity players because their experience is less. So then they would want to be hard on themselves. But if they had a personal goal to know where they were supposed to be and do transition well or something like that, a volleyball thing, and they actually did it, then they can actually feel a success and feel a win, which is kind of what we do with our next right thing, right? We take ourselves where we are with the skill set that we have, with the project and the busy and the family and all the other stuff on the table, and we figure out a small thing that we can see and we can see progress and growth in. Well, I noticed because we separate at the beginning of practice and at the end, and we have them players process what they're doing. You know, what is your goal? How are you doing? How did you process that? And one of the things I noticed, I just really wanted to point out to you guys, is there's a couple of these little sweetheart players who are working their tail off. They are working so hard. And yet when they score themselves like they're a failure. So I wanted to ask you, are you being too hard on yourself? Do you weigh yourself with a heavy hand, with a heavy stick? So let me know. Are you, any of you in here, can you relate to that? Do you measure yourself as coming up short, even if you really probably aren't, if someone else was to look at your life? Though, I mean, those are kind of big, real questions and they're the kind of questions that can squelch They can squelch creativity. You know, if you're having a hard time, you do that all the time. Yeah. So yeah, and then there was a couple that were completely the other end of the spectrum where they didn't have a measurable goal. Their goal was just really generic. So then when they come back to measure, they can say, oh, I'm doing great. I almost get the 5-star. Kind to myself about couldn't make. Yes. Okay. Good, Kristen. Good. Good to hear. But that's what, you know, so if you're not making a specific enough goal, then it is possible to self-delude too. So it's almost like 2 ditches on either side of this creative journey. You can actually be super hard on yourself even when you deserve encouragement. You know, sometimes with the homes that we live in and the lifestyle that we're aiming at, the creative journey is almost the cherry on top. It's the extra thing, right? When most of you guys, you feel like that you don't want to cash it in, you don't want to get away from it. It is the passion of your heart. Hi, Lizzie. It's the passion of your heart, but at the same time, it's not necessarily the main priority. If you're raising kids, if you're married, if you have a job outside, there's some other things that kind of take priority. They actually have to be weighed ahead of our creative dream, right? Does anybody agree with that? I mean, certainly, if I had to choose between being there for my kids and writing, I know what I would have to choose. There would be no choice. Yeah, if the target list is too long, it's too hard to focus. It totally is. So most of us are balancing this creative output in a side pocket of time. It's not the main priority of time. Now, maybe you have the luxury of making it a main priority of your time, and be blessed. Acknowledge that if you do. Hi, Candy. I didn't even actually know that you were in here. So super cool. You guys remember Candy Fix? She was one of our interview authors from a ways back. She has a new book coming out, and she's the one who posted her the stuff about making websites, WordPress websites easier, inside author for the author group. Yay, yes, you finally found it. It's super helpful. Okay, so, but what I wanted to talk about is if you're self-measuring, and self-measuring for the ditches, the 2 ditches, self-measuring and coming up hard on yourself. So you make an accurate goal that's measurable, but then when you measure yourself with a heavy hand. I want to check for that, and I want to check for the opposite. If you're making a goal that's not specific enough, that's real pretty general, so you can actually say, yeah, I'm winning, I'm doing it, but there's really no content in it. And then also there's one more. I was just thinking about it for a second. I'm not sure if I'm going to remember because I just had it right, and when we were thinking, I was like, oh, that's actually right too. But we're all pushing towards these dreams, and the dreams have something in them. They don't just have a success, you know. Oh, I know what it was going to be. Here's the other thing. The other thing inside this volleyball group. So I have all of these teenagers, and they're young, and I get to lead them and shape them. But some of them are making their goals to be competitive. Does anybody understand what I mean by that? Their goal, they're measuring themselves by, is actually because of what they're doing, looking over at their neighbor like this and wanting to be like their neighbor or be as good as their neighbor or have the prize that their neighbor naturally has. But their skill is different, their talent is different, and it's not even less. Sometimes they have a better talent in another area, but it doesn't get acknowledged. So these are the things that are kind of processing through me. Not being busy for the sake of busy, yes. And also that whole thing. If you're comparing your place as a creative, as a writer, with someone else's journey, it's never going to feel like you win because that's not you. There is room for you. There is room for you. There is room for you at the table. And if you doubt, go to your local library and take a second and look at how many books are there. Then you drive to the local library in the nearest town other than your local town, and you take a look at those books too, because 9 times out of 10, they're not even the same books. There's a whole nother room full of books. There's room for you. If you're a painter, an artist, a calligrapher, whatever, photographer, there's room for your talent. There's room for your skill. It's a part of our culture and a society that we'll never get away from. No matter how much technology changes, no matter how much the process changes, we'll be moving through it, right? There's room for you at the table. So let me tell you a few things. This is Rooms, James L. Rupert. I'm supposed to get my hand on his new book, The 5 Times I Messed Myself. The 5 times I messed myself. The 5 times I met myself. Shh, don't tell him I said that. The 5 times I met myself. He is one of our interview guys, and he's going to have a wealth of information on a lot of levels. He's a hybrid author. He's been traditionally published, and he's gone independent, and he's blowing the doors off. He won the Carol Award, and he was the Book of the Year, and he won the Christie Award. I mean, he's doing super great stuff. So he's definitely got some stuff to tell us about the self-publishing and stuff. I did want to talk about this again. Do you guys know this thing is awesome, and I can't even tell you how cool it is. There's a pencil that goes with it, and I stuck it somewhere. But this is the little waterproof pad that suction cups up in your shower. And I don't know if the guy's in here. He's followed me on here before. But this is Aqua Notes. Yes, Aqua Notes is awesome. Okay, guys. So, and I'm going to give one out to Deborah Hiller. She's the winner of our, the comment that positive memories you remember from Author for the Author. So I'm giving her one away, and I'm excited to do that. But these things rock. I always feel like I have to tear off my top notes so that you guys can't see the crazy workings of my brain. But I just want you to tell you that even when you write it in pencil, if you come off and you go like this and you try to smudge it, it won't even smudge, even though it's in the water and it's in the shower. It's really pretty cool. So it almost feels like one of the tags in the back of your t-shirt, only thinner. It's kind of got a neat feel to it. So they're not terribly expensive, and Audra York said that if you buy a pack of 3, it gets even less expensive. But honestly, if you at all get any ideas when you're in the shower, this is totally worth it, because I've had so many ideas that I've been able to catch, and I don't know that I'll go back to not having one of these. So I want to say congratulations to her, and I wanted to make another plug, because when something works, it works, okay? So it may not work for you, but it worked for me, so I really want to talk about it. And then this is another one on potential interviewee down the road. I got a list that's as long as my arm for people that could potentially come on and bless us. Both, like I said, authors, editors, publishers, agents, I mean, kind of the gamut. So we're going to just take them as I feel led of the Lord to do that, so that we get the timing good. Timing good for you guys, timing good for me. But, you know, it's part of the adventure with Author for the Author, part of the adventure with the Writer's Encouragement Show is to keep you guys in the saddle. So I know several of you, Savannah and Candy and Stephanie and Kristen. I mean, and Lizzie. What's your next right thing? What is it that you could see yourself actually getting done between this Tuesday and next Tuesday? Named specifically, so that we can actually agree together with you. We can pray over it. We can see your success, because sometimes waiting for a contract, waiting to write the end, waiting for a launch date, sometimes those things are too big. And it might be that you actually enjoy your kids' first day at school, or you get a date night with your husband. It could be something completely different than a creative goal, because don't you know that the balance, we always talk in here about alignment and balance, making sure that you're not self-sabotaging in the name of your goal or your dream. So anybody want to throw theirs out there? And I will let you know if you have not subscribed on my website to my email list. That's where the announcements of when the speakers are going to hit first, and then we'll do them inside Author for the Author and then on here. So there's 3 ways to find out: guest blog post and launch party planning, then a requested manuscript rewrites. That's a full load. Do you think you'll be able to get all 3 of those done in 1 week? Is that a 1 week list, Candy? How about you, Jody? How about you guys? I know that some you guys are creatives in here, and it might not be that you're doing a book, but there's usually something that you're trying to get done in the name of the part of your heart. Cleaning, homeschool, goals, and listen to 3 writers' podcasts. Very good. Are you listening to Write from the Deep? The first 2 this week, then a plan for the last one. A plan, yes. Okay, so you guys remember me. I'm going to say mine while I'm waiting for the next one. Do you guys remember my little note cards? I want my next chapter edited for my critique group. All right, self-sabotage, not overloading myself. Okay, so So tell me your self-editing, love your time card. Yes. Okay, I'm going to tell you how they're helping me. You want to have your chapters ready to put into them, or you want to be more specific? Because there's two ways that sentence could be translated. Are you going to have yours written ready to be critiqued, or do you have explain? And that's you, Joel, right? Am I got the right handle? The swing of fall and winter activities. It is the fall and winter. Today was the first day I was like, oh, I could do. My critique group meets weekly. Okay. Yes. Okay. So are you trying to have a chapter written? Do you not have it written, or do you have updates to put in from the last critique group? Or do you have theirs that you're critiquing to take? That's a big deal. Critique groups are good and hard at the same time. And Ruby-Ann, yay, Ruby-Ann in the house. Ruby-Ann moved from California up closer to me, and I should be seeing you pretty soon. I need to edit to submit. Okay, so there you go. So you got some editing. I knew it sounded different than just writing. Bye, Stephanie. We're going to pray for you when you're gone, just so you know, because we got to pray for that hand. So when you guys, okay, so what I figured out with my editing project is that I could not measure by how much I had gotten done. I had to, because it didn't have page numbers. Like I couldn't say word count or page numbers. So I had to come up with a different system. So these are my 6 weeks or 7 weeks of editing, and I just started a new one. So I have a measured goal that I try to get, and I have to do it with how much time I get in there. So that you guys need to know, that's my next right thing, is to log a balanced amount of time. And I am on deadline, so I have to actually increase my time without squeezing out my family. And my family is all hands on deck for the month of September, so we'll see how that goes. So dinner's in the crock pot. This girl's going to get busy when we're done with this. So I am going to pray. So now we're going to pray over you guys, because I do believe that there's distractions, that the Lord doesn't want you to get your word out. Deadline practice, that's right. The Lord doesn't want you to get your words out. He wants to keep them behind. You want to know why? Why would he do that? Why would he care? Because there's people on the other side of your books. There's people. There's people that will be encouraged. There's people that will be blessed. There's people that will be helped. There's people that will find a moment of retreat and escape. They will have their mind occupied in a point of pain in their real life. You know, how many layers can the Lord work through? There will be a connection. You'll be able to speak to somebody because you had a different opportunity. Yeah. So there's a reason. Reason that those words aren't supposed to get out there. There's people on the other side. And so, Lord, I just lift up these dreams, and I lift up all of the books and all of the hobbies and all of the craft involved. Singers, songwriters, poets, painters, photographers, and all of us book writers. Lord, I just thank you that you flow through us and come out from the inside out, whichever venue that is. I thank you, Lord, that the expression of you inside of us comes out, and that you would make the way easy, that you would make the time management easy, that you would make the self-discipline easy, that we would measure ourselves accurately before you, that we wouldn't be harder on ourselves than you are. And Lord, I just lift up all the bodies in here that were struggling with physical things, broken bones and back and sickness and all kinds of stuff. Lord, I just speak grace to their physical body. And I ask, Lord, that you would come in and heal them quick and help them get back in the chair so that they can actually do what it is that you've called them to do, inspired them to do, given them a desire to do. In Jesus' name, amen. So be watching, guys. I'm going to end up, I don't have any names for you. My big trick with giving you names on who we're bringing in is that I make sure I don't give you a name until I have a commitment. So I've got a lot of requests out there, and we'll see those names come up pretty quick, and I'll be able to give you hard dates and facts on when we're going to have these authors come in. And like I said, editors, agents. I kind of like to know the whole full gamut of the industry. Like when we had Jeannie Wynn, the publicist, come on, everything she said about being a publicist was so different than what I could understand. And I know it's pretty pocket of interest to the writers, but the idea is the same. Like Ruby-Ann, she's a singer, and Ruby-Ann, are you still in here? Have you taken a hand at songwriting too? I haven't actually touched bases with you on that in a long time. I know I don't think it's your season right now, but in the past, because even inside the singing world or the painting world, you deal with the same industry concepts, the idea of not much, but you've probably seen it work when somebody's promoting a CD or they're actually trying to get something up on, iTunes or dealing with an agent or a contract. Did you get to see that? Yeah. So it's the same language, even though I'm tailoring it to the writing stuff. So I like that. I like it that there's a crossover so we can help lots of people. And, don't underestimate what you're doing. Like Jody, helping with your niece and nephew and still finding time for yourself. That was like Ruby-Ann. Ruby-Ann's adopted. Is it 3? You got 3 now, right, Ruby-Ann? She got to adopt. I'm telling you right now that her primary goals should be based on those babies, and she got to have some time for herself because that makes her a better mom. She's got to have time for her dreams because that makes her a better mom. But the whole point is to encompass those kids with a love environment that can give them a future that they would not have had before. So everybody comes to the table with a different set of circumstances and a different set of priorities. But in the end, we're kind of aiming at the same thing, to do the thing that the Lord has asked of us, right? And to do it well and to do it with intention. So one of the things that I said that I wrote right across the top of the name of our Author for the Author group is to breathe in courage and to exhale fear. And most people would think that it needs to be the other way around. Breathe in fear, or exhale fear, breathe in courage. But sometimes I think that you have to breathe in the courage in order to exhale the fear. I think the fear is always kind of there, always kind of low running inside of you. And that you have to actually take the initiative before the Lord in your goals, like what we're doing with the Next Right Thing. You have to actually take courage and begin, and then it gives you the freedom to exhale the fear and go through the fear, or go through it afraid sometimes. So it is breathe in courage, exhale fear. Because this next week, you guys are going to rock it. We got 1 week at a time instead of these year goals or having so much in one day that you can't get it done. We just 1 week. We'll see you back. I'm sure I'll be on in between because I have a normal week. My kids are back in school. I feel my routine coming back, and we'll do that. So have a good day. Be blessed. And let's do this thing. Let's do this Next Right Thing. Bye, guys.